Hey Blossom Gang, it's Chantel. Sorry y'all, I'm trying to get situated. No. Alright. Hey Blossom Gang, it's Chantel aka Shanny Blossom, and I'm back with another video. If you have not already done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button to like this video, and also comment in the comment section below. I love interacting with others. It might take me a little bit longer to get to everything now, but I try my best. So today's video is going to be a labor and delivery recap video. I put out a video basically kind of highlighting a little bit of my experience in the labor and delivery process and in the labor and delivery room as I was giving birth, or in the process of going through labor for Malia. However, I wasn't able to capture every single little thing at the hospital that I was giving birth at. They had certain things that you could not record, and that included like some of the workers there, and I had a lot of workers in and out of my room. Nothing bad. Pretty much everyone that I work with during my labor and delivery was wonderful, so I'm glad I encountered all the people I did. I just want to give a recap. I see this a lot on YouTube, and I want to join in to kind of give my recap of what happened with my labor, because y'all weren't able to see everything. So basically, I got to 40 weeks with Malia. Matter of fact, I was heading towards 41 weeks. I went past my due date by 2 days. Matter of fact, she was born on the 40th week on the second day. My due date was the 19th. I ended up having her on the 21st. So pretty much, I gave kind of like a little recap of 40 weeks. I was ready for her to come. So basically, my mom came down basically a few days earlier, because I thought I was in labor. I thought I went in labor on that Tuesday before my due date. I thought I was having contractions, y'all. I went into the hospital. They let me sit in the triage room. They monitored to see if I was having any type of contractions. Come to find out, I wasn't having any type of contractions. It was just starting to kind of like, you know, get to a point where I was about to start labor, but I wasn't actually in labor at all. So I didn't really know what to expect. They said I was dehydrated. Gave me an IV, and then I went back home. And so I thought little mama was gonna come anytime during that time, and she didn't. So pretty much on the 21st, I woke up at, I think it was around 3:50 something in the morning, and I had to go to the bathroom, because one of your pregnancy symptoms in the third trimester is that you go to the bathroom a lot. And so they told me if my water broke, I would have to go to the labor and delivery, because I had group B strep. And I explained to y'all what that was. And so if you have group B strep, you have to go into labor and delivery just then, because you got to get, you know, the antibiotics that they need to put through your system so that it won't get to your baby. I'm watching Malia too out the side of my eye, so if you see me looking over there, that's who I'm looking at. I think she might be trying to wake up, but I'm not sure. So basically, what ended up happening was that I woke up around 3:50 something, went to the bathroom, used it, and then I got up to go wash my hands. And while I was running the water to wash my hands, I was about to get the soap. A gush of water came out. Now it wasn't a whole bunch, but it was enough to like fall out on the floor. Not to give you, I mean, I'm not trying to freak y'all out, but this is just what happened for me. So it fell on the floor, and I couldn't control it. Like they said, like when your water breaks, is something that you can't control. So at that point, I said something's happening. So as soon as that water came out, I started shaking. Like, I can't really describe it, but I started shaking, and not in an uncontrollable way, you know, not in a way that it was just like, oh my gosh, emergency, emergency, but I just started shaking a little bit. And so after I started shaking a little bit, I started feeling something weird inside of my belly. Like my belly just felt weird, and I just felt like I need to get to the hospital now. I felt like a sense of urgency to get to the hospital. So pretty much I went in the room and woke my husband, and I told him, say, hey, look, I think my water broke. Now he was just like, sis, you've been trying to get your water to break. You've been trying to get this little girl to come out for the longest. So are you sure, like, sis, this is it? And I was like, yes, this is it. So we got our bags. I had already had our bags packed like a long time ago, and we drove to the hospital at 4 something in the morning. I called my mom and let her know, hey, I think this is it. So we get to the hospital, and I have my bonnet on. Like, I just decided I'm not wearing contacts. I'm wearing my bonnet the whole entire time. That's why you see on the labor delivery video, I did not take my hair out. There was no point for me taking my hair out, because I knew I went in there to do business, okay? I knew I went in there to have this baby. Like, it was to do business, okay? So pretty much I just kept my bonnet on. I made sure we had our car seat. I made sure we had our bags and everything. Matter of fact, we didn't even bring our bags into the hospital. All I did was just tell them, hey, I think my water broke. They sent somebody down, and I went into triage room. The triage room was nice still, but it was a little small room. And so they basically, when I got in the triage room, I had my very first contraction, y'all. And they say when you know you're in labor, you will know. You will know, because those contractions are unlike anything that I've ever experienced in my entire life. Now, they weren't too bad at the beginning, but I will get to that point. So pretty much I felt my first contraction when I was talking to the lady when I was admitted into triage. And so I was like, oh, so this is really happening. So I thought my water broke, like I said. So they did 2 tests, and I didn't have a lot of fluid after that gush that I felt. So my 2 tests came back negative. So I was bummed by that, because they checked me, and I think I was like 3 centimeters dilated, and that's what I had been on Tuesday. And I was like, Lord, I know I've experienced some type of labor, like, and I know what I'm experiencing right now is labor, so I need them to admit me. And that's basically was my whole goal. I was like, listen, they have to admit me. So basically they kept me for 2 hours, and at first the doctor came in. There was a doctor that was on call. She was like, yeah, we're gonna try to keep you pregnant for as long as we can. I already had an induction scheduled for the following Wednesday. And so, and from my understanding, when she came in and told me that, it was basically like, sis, we about to send you back home. However, they rechecked me, and I had got up to 4 centimeters dilated. Now at that point, I told my husband, listen, they have to admit me at this point, because I know I'm going through labor. At that point, my contractions had started. Now, they were not consistently consistent, but they were there. Like, you could clearly see it. And I was also having back labor. And so at that point, I was like, they need to admit me. They need to admit me. They need to admit me. Like, I told him, I said, I'm not going home today. I am not going back home. I'm staying in here, and I'm gonna have this baby. So basically, one mind was like, they might try to send me home, but then another mind was like, I'm not leaving this hospital. So basically, that doctor that was on call, she ended up going home, and she was off duty at that point. The doctor that actually was going to do my induction on Wednesday went on call, and so by the time that they switched, because I was having like inconsistent contractions, and because I think I had went from 3 centimeters to 4 centimeters dilated, I think that they were just like, okay, let's go ahead and admit her. Let's go ahead and do this thing. You know, let's go ahead and get this thing on and popping. So pretty much they came back in after they let me stay in triage for another hour. They came back in. They said, we're gonna admit you, you're gonna stay here, you're gonna get induced. And y'all, I was so thankful, because I knew that this was it. I knew she was coming today. So pretty much my parents got to the triage room, and then they moved us to the other room. And then I was so hungry, guys, and my husband actually, kudos to him, because he was like, we're gonna have this baby by 10 p.m. and all of us in the room were like, no, we're gonna have this baby before then. But actually, he was the closest to the time that I had Malia. And I'll tell y'all about that a little bit later, so let me get back on track. So we moved to the actual like labor and delivery room, and I met with like 2 great nurses. Matter of fact, the lady that I had in the triage, the nurse I had in triage, was wonderful as well. So I was met with 2 great nurses. They told me that I was gonna get induced. They told me that I was having contractions, but they were not necessarily like every 5 minutes apart. It was like some of them were every 5 to 6 minutes apart, and then I would have some that would be every 10 minutes or 12 minutes apart. So mines were kind of getting there, but they were not like all the way consistent. And so at that point, they decided that they were going to induce me, and I was going to have to get Pitocin. So before any of that, I had to get put on the antibiotic for penicillin for the group B strep. So they started putting me onto that. Then they also started getting my IV ready for the fluids, and then they started giving me my IV ready for the penicillin. And I just asked, can I eat something? I said, I don't care if it's a liquid diet. Give me a liquid diet. I'll eat some bone broth. I don't care. Just let me get. So at first they gave me a liquid diet. Then they said, oh, well, you could go ahead and eat regular food. So I had a whole breakfast. It wasn't like the best breakfast, but it was something to put on my stomach. And then I felt better after that. My contractions were coming, you know, and I could see them on the screen. I could hear and see Malia's heartbeat. Malia did not like the thing that they strap around your belly. One thing I loved about the hospital that I gave birth at is that they let me move around. So they had the birthing ball. My nurse was very well versed in what she knew about how to get in certain positions to get my baby positioned in the right way. And so I started off in the bed, and the contractions started coming, especially with the Pitocin that they had gave me, y'all. I started having front labor in my abdomen, vaginal labor, and back labor. So I had all 3, and let me tell you, when you have all 3 of those junks at one time, it is something serious. It is not nothing to play with, okay? Nobody cannot tell me that I am not strong, because I am a strong woman, because I went through birth by the grace of God. Okay, so don't let nobody try to come for you. If you giving birth, you are strong, okay? Because that pain is on a whole nother level, okay? That pain is unmatched. That pain is on a whole nother paradigm shift, okay? And so I was trying to do it all natural, guys. I wanted to try it as an all natural as I possibly could, so I didn't get any type of medication at first, okay? So for the first few hours of labor, I didn't get anything. So what I did first was I labored in bed. It started getting really painful. So then the nurse was like, why don't you get on the birthing ball? I got on the birthing ball, and the birthing ball actually really helped in early active labor. It seemed like the contractions were not as bad as I sat on the birthing ball. Then I started like wanting to hug people, or she guided, you know, my mom and my husband to do certain things with my back and squeezing my back, and that kind of helped a little bit, but it was getting painful. I remember sitting on the toilet for a few of my contractions, and basically what I did, I didn't scream. You can ask my husband. I didn't scream during labor. I moaned a few times, but my mama told me to concentrate on breathing, you know, and she reminded me of that, and I'm so thankful, because that helped me get through some of the worst labor pains that I had. So I just did breathing. So I would do that, and that's how I got through like some of my labor. Now I think I had been in labor since 4 something in the morning, 5 something in the morning, By the time 6 o'clock happened, 6 o'clock at night, I had went from 4 or 5 in the morning to like 6 o'clock at night. I didn't have any medication, just the breathing. At first, it was bearable. I told my mama, I said, hey, if it's like this, if it only lasts for a few seconds, I can handle it. But then it started lasting for a longer time period. And that's when I was like, oh, Lord, no, I done messed up. So I started thinking about an epidural. My mom was trying to, you know, help me like focus, like, girl, do you really need it? And I was like, I'm trying to hold off, mama, but I think I might need it. So it got to be around 6 p.m. and my mama, I told my mom, hey, I need something. So we started off with Storytime, I believe, and it basically helps calm you down a little bit, but you're a little loopy. And they gave me that Storytime, y'all, and I was out of my mind. I was not here. I was on a whole nother level, in another dimension. My mama said I started talking about being in a classroom and I wanted to get out and I didn't like these drugs. I still felt the pain, but it kind of toned it down a tad, like just one tad lower of pain. It was still there, but I could handle it or tolerate it. It was still uncomfortable, very uncomfortable, and I was in the bed, so that was even worse. Hold on one second. I'm back, guys. So I was in the bed and it made it even worse, and they had me using the peanut ball at that point to kind of try to position her into a different way. So when I got the Storytime, now mind you, this was around 6 p.m. going to 7 p.m. and I didn't know this at the time, but Malia was actually in distress. And they didn't really know what was going on, and so it got to the point where they came in the room. I was still a little loopy, but I think that the IV drugs were helping get the Storytime out, because I was like, listen, don't give me no more of that Storytime. I don't want that no more, okay? So they were like, okay, we won't give you no more. They were like, you need to start thinking about potentially getting an epidural, because there's a potentiality that we might need to give you an emergency C-section because your daughter is in distress. Now, they didn't let me know everything that was really going on. They just said, hey, there's a possibility. I still was not coherent enough. The people around me were coherent, meaning my husband, my mom, and my dad. They were coherent for me. I was coherent to the fact that it was a possibility that I might need a C-section. I didn't know the severity of what was going on, because like I said, that Storytime messes with your mind. I will never get that ever again. If I ever decide to go into labor again, I will not get Storytime. So pretty much I started thinking just for a minute, and I decided, hey, I think I might need to get the C-section. I mean, not the C-section. I think I might need to get the epidural anyway, because these pains are hurting, okay? They were hurting. It got to the point where them labor pains, they were laboring, honey. They were making me work for the baby, okay? It was making me work, and it was working me out. And I did not like that. So it got really, really, really painful. And I started thinking, I was like, women actually would be going through this multiple times? Like, good Lord, this is hurt. This hurt. This hurt. This hurt, okay? Like, I'm trying to reiterate that the labor pains were nothing to play with. You don't play with labor pains. There's some women that possibly don't have labor pains. I had labor pains. I had back labor, front labor, vaginal. I had all those labor pains all together. That's painful, okay? So it got to that severity for me, for the pain. So I wasn't even worried about the C-section at that point. It was like, I need the epidural for me, for myself, okay? I need it. But there was a severe situation going on, because my baby, I didn't know that her heart rate was going down so low. Nobody told me, nobody let me know that. They just told me it's a possibility that I might need a C-section. So I had already made up in my mind, I'm getting an epidural. So they said that, I guess they came in a third time and said, hey, if this don't work, she going in. So I said, call in the the epidural people, get them in here now. I was scared. I told the nurse, I said, I'm scared because I don't want to move. And at that point, my contractions had got to the point where they were there. Like, I didn't have a lot of breaks. The breaks were not there to get a C-section. I mean, not a C-section, but I keep on saying C-section. The breaks were not there to get an epidural. Like, my contractions hurt. And staying still for those contractions would have felt like a lot to do. And I was scared. I was scared, y'all. I was scared, but I was like, I need something for this pain. So they came in there one last time and said, if her heart rate doesn't get right, we're going to take her in for the C-section. So I did not know this at the time, but my husband, my mom, my dad were praying for me. They prayed a prayer over me. And so the lady, my husband stayed in there with me while I got the C-section, y'all. I said, hurry up and give me, not the C-section. I keep on saying C-section. I did not get the C-section, y'all. The epidural. The lady came in there to do the epidural. I told the lady, I said, listen, what are the side effects? Number one, because I need to know what's going on with my body. So number two, go ahead and give it to me before I have another contraction. She said, well, I can't, I can only do it as fast as I can. Y'all, tell me why she gave me the epidural during a contraction. During a contraction. Now, she didn't mean to, because my contractions were like 2-3, it seemed like 5 minutes apart at that point, so she couldn't really time it to that point. And I knew right then and there, get your epidural ahead of time. Don't get it like how I got it unless you're willing to go all the way natural. So pretty much she gave me the epidural while I had a contraction. And y'all, when I tell y'all, it was nothing but the grace of God that kept my body still. Nothing but the grace of God that kept my body still. I did not flinch, not one time. I powered through that contraction like a beast. I did. I'm gonna speak for myself. That's not boasting or bragging. That's telling you truth. Because I didn't want to be paralyzed, okay? So pretty much I beasted through that contraction, did not move, not one flinch, just breathe out some air into my husband's face, unfortunately. But he handled it like a pro, and he held me down. And I got that contraction. She was like, girl, you're one of the best people that I've ever given an epidural to. And it took maybe about 5 to 10 minutes for the epidural to work for the pain. And then after that, all I felt was pressure, guys. And then they had me sitting on a peanut ball. They had me laying in bed. This was around 7:30 p.m. Okay, they had me laying on one side on the peanut ball in the bed, stretched out with my legs, and they said this is supposed to help her come down. I had to lay on it on both sides. So my team did a really good job of getting her in position to want to come out, because at first she wasn't able to come all the way down. Y'all, I started shaking. I had the shakes going on. That's the side effect, I had the shakes real bad. But I was shaking and I was powering through, y'all. There was a determination in me. It was this determination. It was nothing but the grace of God to be like, I need to see my baby face to face. I need to meet her face to face. I need to see her face to face. There was a determination in me, and there was a determination in my child. Y'all. So, I laid in the bed for probably like a few minutes, 30, 45 minutes. They came back and checked me. I did not have to get a C-section. I did not, and I was terrified of getting a C-section because I have fibroids, guys. I have fibroids, so I didn't want them to have to give me a C-section. And I'm sorry. I said, I'm not sorry. I was terrified of a C-section. I did not want that. There are women that have had to get it, but I was terrified, y'all. They said, do you feel like you gotta poop? I said, I don't know if I feel like I gotta poop, but I said I feel like pressure down there, a lot of pressure. And when they checked me, y'all, Malia was right there. She was right there. She's ready to come out. This was at 8:50 something, 8:40 something, 8:50 something. I don't know how long I pushed. They said, are you ready to push? She's right here. I said, yeah. Yeah, I'm ready to push. Push her. And TMI, I didn't think I was gonna be this person, but I was. I pooped and she pooped. And my husband didn't get squirming. She said he was gonna not look, but he actually looked, and I'm so proud of him because he understood like the birthing process, and he looked down there and everything. And they let me feel her head, and I could feel it coming out. And she came out, y'all. And y'all, I did not know this, but there was a cord. Her cord had wrapped around her neck. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Her cord had wrapped around her neck 3 times, but the doctor unwound her 3 times. And they wanted her to cry a little bit more to get some stuff out of her lungs, but she passed all of her tests. Everything about her was wonderful, perfect. And I just thank the Lord, because the reason why she was actually in distress was because her cord had wrapped around her neck that many times. And I just think about that, and I just thank the Lord. I really do. I thank the Lord that God like protected her from that, you know, and kept her from danger seen and unseen, basically. And so they placed her on my chest. I got to do skin to skin with her. She cried, and we looked at each other, and that was my child. And it was a surreal moment. I had her at 9:05 p.m. on the 21st. And so I was in labor for about 8 hours and some change. And I got induced, and I didn't need a C-section by the grace of God. They thought I was, but I didn't. And I thank God for my birth and my delivery. I did get a 2nd-degree tear. My doctor stitched me up. I asked specifically, I said, did y'all get this placenta out of me in whole? I need to know the whole thing. I ain't got time for y'all. I don't got time for y'all. Y'all got the whole thing out? They said, yes, ma'am, we did. So that's what I was praying for, and I stayed in the hospital. It was like a lot, like having to deal with after the delivery, because you're hurting, number one, down there, and then also on top of that, they place a lot of emphasis on you breastfeeding. My milk hadn't come in yet, just colostrum. It was a lot. I cried in the hospital. I cried when I got home. I cried a lot of times, y'all. Having a newborn is a lot of work. It's something that I definitely don't feel like you're gonna be prepared for. There's no way, I'm sorry, there's no way you're gonna prepare for your birth and your labor and your delivery, and there's no way you're gonna prepare for being a new parent as a first-time parent. You're just not. Matter of fact, me and my husband are gonna do a video together about our experience as first-time parents, and basically giving advice to first-time parents, because I feel like a lot of people don't talk about certain things enough. So that will be in a later video. This was just about my labor, my birth, and how Malia got here. And so that's all I want to share with y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'll talk to y'all later.